This is ESBR Boxing. Delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn in Belfast. He didn't really have to say much in that press conference, Eddie. It just went off.
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes you become a bit of a robot because you're just doing presser after presser. And I walked in today and saw the crowd. And then I heard the noise and introed the fighters. Kind of like a dream come true for a promoter to have that kind of atmosphere. And you only really get that in the big fights, and you only really get that in the big fights in Belfast, to be honest with you. I thought it was an amazing presser, great atmosphere. Both fighters were brilliant. The trainers were great. The crowd was great, and I can't wait for a massive fight March 1st.
I feel like this fight's been in the pipeline for quite a long time. Maybe one of the worst kept secrets in Irish boxing anyway. Finally getting it over the line. As you mentioned, sells itself. Both men very, very confident. But I was talking to Paddy earlier. He said he sensed some nerves from Lewis. Billy Nelson said the same thing about Paddy Donovan, that he was nervous. What do you make of the fight?
Look, the reality is neither man have boxed on this kind of occasion before, under this kind of pressure. So I like that, and I like the fact that it means a lot to both guys. It's a life-changing opportunity. The winner's going to be mandatory for Jerron Ennis, who may move up at some point. You could get a vacant title shot, in Ireland. And you win that welterweight championship. You've got Ryan Garcia, you've got Devin Haney, you've got Teofimo Lopez. You've got massive fights to be a part of. And, the two biggest fans for Paddy Donovan and Lewis Crocker is Andy Lee and Billy Nelson. And they're both completely convinced they win this fight convincingly. And, I don't know which way it's going to go. It's a brilliant clash of styles. But you've got two guys that will be nervous on the night because they've never been in this kind of fight before. And that's what makes it just as exciting.
Away from this, I'm sure you saw Chris Eubank Jr.'s tweet yesterday, and it looked like, maybe, is the fight not going to happen with Benn? Then obviously, Turkey Al-Sheikh said this morning that the fight is over the line. Was there a fear when you saw what Eubank said about this rehydration and everything? What's the situation there?
I've kind of come off Twitter a little bit because it kind of does your head in. So I didn't see it, and it was just quite nice not seeing it, really, because when you don't see it, you're oblivious to everything, aren't you? And people were forwarding it to me, and I was like, oh. And, Eubank's going to say what he says. I think Turkey made sure that we got what we wanted, and I presume Chris Eubank got what he wanted, and he was happy because he signed as well. So the build-up's going to be real interesting. They really don't like each other. We know the history, we know the narrative, and it's just a massive, massive fight. So looking forward to getting the ball rolling.
Just how big is that fight?
Huge. You get like the industry hate, like the people that are close to it. Oh, it's not that big. I woke up this morning to just dozens of messages from my mates that don't really go to shows, or people asking for tickets. When a big fight comes because it reaches a whole nother world, a fight like that. And when you see the presser, when you start getting into the build-up, of course, we know the family legacy. It's a massive fight. It's the biggest fight in Britain. Obviously Fury's retired, so the other one is AJ Fury. But that fight is the biggest fight in Britain. It's going to be a monster event.
You mentioned Fury retiring, and obviously Anthony Joshua. If that fight's not going to be made, is it a matter of looking elsewhere now for Anthony Joshua? I'm sure he's going to be wanting to get back into camp soon and fighting in 2025 at some stage. Yeah,
Dubois Parker is obviously a fight we're watching closely. See if Fury comes back, but if not, there's other heavyweights out there to fight. We're not saying if we don't get those guys, we're done. AJ's got an appetite and he's hungry to return to the ring, and he'll do that in the early summer.
Is it a genuine possibility that you could have Anthony Joshua fighting Martin Bakole in Africa? Billy Nelson mentioned it there.
Yeah, I think the call out from Bakole kind of was a good thing because it gave AJ a little kick up the backside and gave him a little bit of a spring in the step. And now who knows? That's something. I think a fight in Africa or something like that would definitely be appealing to AJ. Whether it's Bakole or someone else could make sense. AJ would fight anyone, honestly, anyone. But obviously my job to make the biggest fights, and I'm sure he's going to have a big 2025.
Eddie Hearn, I'll see you on March 1st in Belfast. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.